Are you a new modeler and you want to know what tools you need to get started? Then you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Ron from Night Train Models and welcome to my new channel. Please click the subscribe button. So today we're going to talk about tools you need to get started in modeling. I'm going to throw a lot at you. We'll just talk basically about what I'm going to show you, and we'll get into more detail as we get into later videos. So with that being said, let's get started. As you can see, I got a variety of cutting tools, and we'll just quickly go over what they are and what they're for. So most basic cutting tool, your basic nail clipper. This is what I used out when I started. When I was, I don't know, 8, 9 years old, something like that. When I first started making models, I used one of these to cut parts off the sprue. Then you got basically a basic X-Acto knife. Very cheap. Get them at any modeling store. We got, same thing as the one I just showed you, except it's got flats on the end, so it doesn't roll off the table and stab you in the foot. You also have this one, which is the same as the last one, except it's got a contoured handle on it. You get a little more control for more precise cutting. And then we've got this one, and this is a handle for, this is a saw blade that's on it right now. I got other saw blades that I can put on here for most cutting wood, doing wood models like ships, things like that. We got this one. This isn't really a cutter, but it can be used to cut like sheet plastic. This is a Tamiya scriber. $7. Good tool for scribing. Say you're sanding on a fuselage and you take out some detail and go in with this tool and put the detail back in. Another larger handled cutter. This one holds larger blades. Can also hold saw blades in it. Then we got sprue cutters, and it's just, looks like a pliers, got a couple blades on it. Go in, cut your parts off your sprue. These are double bladed ones. You can get single bladed ones. They're a lot more expensive, but from what I've seen and heard, they're more precise than even these are, and these are some pretty decent ones. Not the best, but they're pretty decent. Next, we'll talk about some sanding things. Another really super basic one, plain old regular cheap nail file. It's got one side's coarse and the other side's not too coarse. I used these for years and years and years, and for my modeling, they did what I needed them to do at that time. These are super cheap. You get 10 of them for a couple bucks. So that's something nice and cheap to get started with. Next up, we have these sanding films. You can buy these for testers in a variety pack, or you can buy them individually. They come in different courses. They're on a plastic sheet, and you can, real flexible, easy to use. You can scrunch them up and wrap them around things. And these are pretty cheap. I think that's $4 for a variety pack. You get basically one sheet of each. There's, I don't know, 6 sheets in a pack, something like that, different courses. Next, we have sanding sticks. This is a plastic one. They come with bands. Put the bands around the sanding stick. This is nice because it's got the pointy end on it. The side has a round end. Pretty long. Sanding area. Controllable tip. I use this one mostly for wooden models. You can get different uh, different grades for these too. Then you got your regular flat sanding sticks. These are, I think these are Squadron ones. I'm not positive, but they have like a foam core. They're a little bit flexible, not terribly like a sponge. Sponge ones are, kind of thick. They got a pretty good, decent sized sponge inside, and for sanding around um, convex shapes, so you don't lose the shape. If you went, you try to do like a fuselage with this one, you might get a flat spot because there's no flex in it. Instead of sanding sponges, I use these. These are I don't know what you call them, sanding bands or maybe, but they're pretty flexible for curves and like on fuselages and things. They're one-sided, and you can change them out when they wear out. So these are pretty useful too. These are kind of gimmicky. You don't really need these, but I like them, and I use them quite a bit. Talk about some glue. Another thing you'll need is glue. Here we have this is Tamiya extra thin cement. This is the go-to for most modelers. It's really almost like water. It's got a super small brush on it for, you dab it on the part, and the glue goes where it needs to go. This one's the same thing, same kind of glue, except it's a little thicker, has a bigger brush on it. These these glues, what these ones do is that when you join two parts together, you put the glue in the middle, it melts each side of the plastic and it kind of fuses it together. You can also buy that tube like tester's glue for polystyrene. I wouldn't recommend that stuff. It's thick, it's gooey, it's stringy, and it just makes a mess. You're better off going with the Tamiya instead of the tester's tube stuff. It's horrible. Another glue. This is Zappa Gap CA glue, otherwise known as Superglue. This stuff you can use to fill in gaps and things like that. Besides, and it also helps with you need this kind of glue for, like, say you got photo etch and you want to glue that to some plastic. The Tamiya won't work with that, but this you can glue your photo etch to your plastic, and it'll hold pretty good. Then with that, you get a bottle of this if you need it. This is a accelerator. You put the super glue down, hit a shot with this, and it cures it up really quick. This is another product I'm gonna try. This is Bondic, and what this is dentists used to use this stuff for fillings. It's a resin glue, and then you set it with a light. There's UV light in there, so you put the glue where you want it, hit it with the light, and it cures the glue. So we're gonna try this out on some canopies and some windshields, stuff like that, and see how this stuff works. For canopies and stuff, you can also use what they call PVA glue or white glue, basically Elmer's glue. And some people even use glass coating to glue down canopies and stuff like that. Talk about primers next for your model. This is Tamiya Surface Primer. This is a latex primer. Not latex, sorry. This is a lacquer primer. Spray it self-leveling, works pretty good. It sprays kind of heavy, but Vallejo Surface Primer. This is acrylic polyurethane based. This one was really popular for a long time, but people started having issues with it for some reason. I don't know if they started changing their formula or whatever. People started kind of going away from this and going more toward like the AK Interactive brand and MIG. This stuff you just pour it in your airbrush, put a little thinner in it, and go to town. Try me. We'll talk about overcoats now. Overcoats are, you put it over your paint to protect it. This is once again Tamiya. That focus there, come on. Focus. Well, this is a gloss clear primer. You put it over your model and you can put decals down on it. Another super cheap alternative. Pledge Floor Care. So this is basically what's in that Tamiya thing, except this is super cheap. You get, I don't know, 27 ounces or a pint, almost 800 milliliters with this. Costs $3-4. Lasts forever. Just dump it in your airbrush and gloss your parts with that. And then there's matte varnishes. I don't have any with me right now. I think they're in the other room, but matte coat finishes for like finishing off aircraft parts that you want dull. Next, we'll talk about some paints. This isn't really a paint; it's just ink. But I use this for like electronics boxes and aircraft. It's got a nice color to it. It's dark, and it works out pretty good. It leaves a nice sheen. It's got Model Master Flat Black. This is a enamel base paint. I used to use these when I first started modeling. This is all I used was enamels. This is Vallejo Model Air. This color's olive drab. Dump it in your airbrush and start spraying. Sometimes it needs a little bit of thinner, but usually you can pour it straight to your brush and use it that way. This is acrylic based. Pretty sure this is another enamel base. This is a new paint I just bought. I'm going to try it on the model. It's the AK Interactive Extreme Metal steel. We're going to use this on a plane that we're going to build. And then, as usual, Tamiya acrylics come in a wide range of colors and finishes, and not terribly expensive. Paintbrushes. So these are detail paintbrushes. I get four in a pack. Really small, pointed, round brushes. Got these for $3, $4, something like that. Then I have a variety of brushes. This is a flat brush, really soft bristles on it for blending and things like that. And we got a stiff bristle brush. This is for stippling and doing some weathering. Use it for pigments, stuff like that. Another harder bristle brush. This one's a flat one. Use this for dry brushing, stuff like that. Old crappy mixing brush for mixing paints and testing, stuff like that. The bristles on this one are pretty shot. And then we got another soft round for general painting, larger areas. So you can get sets of sets of brushes at your local hobby store. Usually run about $8 to $20 for a pack, and they come in different. You get quite a few different shapes and sizes with the pack. So thinners. Let's look at some thinners. So this is Tamiya X28 thinner. This is for acrylic paints. They also make a lacquer one for enamels and lacquers, for cleaning out brushes. With acrylic paints, you can also use water, just plain water, or straight alcohol, straight rubbing alcohol. Usually use the 99+% alcohol for that. And then I have some other thinner that I use that I mix up myself, and some airbrush cleaner that I mix up myself that has alcohol and stuff in it. So alcohols and thinners. Putties. Let's look at some putties. Let's see. Putties and fillers. So these are two basic ones. These are Squadron products. The white and green putty that's used to fill larger gaps, and depending on, I don't know. I don't really know the difference between the white and the green. It's just, I think I lost this one and went out and got this one, and then I found this one, and now I got two of them. They're just different colors. This is Milliput. Milliput is a 2-part putty, so you cut a piece off of each. Comes in two pieces. So you cut a piece off of each, knead them together, mix them up, mix up the putty, and then gets really hard. It's good for filling big gaps and things like that. You can also make parts out of it. I've seen people make like tubing and stuff for Millennium Falcons and stuff that they wanted to get a little more detail with, and they use the Milliput to make parts. This is a new one that I just got. I'm gonna try this out. I've seen a couple guys use it. This is the Vallejo acrylic plastic putty, and what's nice about this stuff is it's got this super thin tip on it, and you squeeze it into your gap, small gap. This is used for small gaps. Then you wet a cotton bud or a Q-tip, and just run that along the seam, and you don't have to sand or anything like that. So we're gonna give this stuff a try. Next thing we're gonna talk about some tweezers and holders. So that's normal. This is a round tip tweezer. I got these from Apart Work. They're pretty much useless, so I'm gonna cut them apart and make some spatulas or paint mixers or something out of these ones. I'll show you how to do that. These are self-holding ones. These are nice for holding parts while you're painting them, or just don't have to squeeze. You just put the part in there and let it close on it, and then we got these ones are kind of cutting tweezers. These are for fine work. Not really used as tweezers, more of a cutter than anything else. Got some straight pointed tweezers. And then I got what I would recommend you get if your first set of tweezers. What I would recommend is curved tweezers. They're a little easier to work with. You can finagle them a little better. Get in tight spots with them. So a good pair of curved tweezers is a good starting point for tweezers. Next, we'll talk about some tapes. Let's see. So this is just, regular cellophane tape. I don't use this anymore very much. It's okay for what it does. I mean, if you're in a pinch and you don't want to, spend, $8 on a roll of Tamiya tape, then, this will work. Regular masking tape, you know, blue painter's tape. I use this for masking up, but before I stick it to any plastic or paint, I put it on my pant leg and then peel it off and then use it. And what that does is just take some of the tack off of the sticky side of the tape. The good tape here, once again, Tamiya product. Come in different widths. Come with, you can buy them with or without the plastic deals. These are refillable, so you can buy refills too. I would suggest if you're going to go out and get these, get the ones with the holders first, and then just buy refills later, because the holders they protect the edges of the tape from, like, crap on your desk or stuff floating in the air, stuff like that. So these are good tapes. They're more expensive. Tamiya, I think this one's a 6 mil. Yeah, this one's 6 mil. They also make, they started coming out with like 2 mil tape, 3 mil tape for going around curves and stuff. Those don't come with holders, but I got some around here somewhere. I just don't know where it is right now. Tamiya tapes are good. Another thing you might need, let's see here. Got some clamps. These are regular clamps. They got little pads on the end. Spread out the pressure a little bit and for gluing things together. It's just a bigger one of those. These are kind of nice. These are ratchet ones. They got a big pad on the end of them, so clamp wings together or something, and you just ratchet it till it holds. And these work pretty good. I like these ones. I use them quite a bit. Then here's another type. This has got rubber tips on it, so it won't slip off. But you just clamp it and it won't slip off round parts, things like that. So those work pretty good. These big ones. Well, all of these like this, they have you can clamp in here too, but there's no protection. So if you're gonna use this part to clamp on these, you might want to put some tape in here or something, because they got some pretty gnarly teeth in there for holding stuff. So and then we'll talk about some basic things that you really need. Toothpicks, cocktail sticks. I guess there is a difference. Cocktail sticks have a pointy end and a flat end on the other side. Toothpicks are pointy on both sides. These are used for all kinds of things: mixing paint, moving decals around, glue parts to them to hold them. So when you airbrush or paint, you don't have to hold on to the part. You just glue it to the stick and paint it, and then when you're done, you cut the stick off on the end and sand the nub down. So, toothpicks, and cocktail sticks. Those, you're gonna use a lot of those. Another thing you're gonna use a lot of that I don't have is Q-tips or cotton buds. Those are somewhere else. I don't know where they are right now, but I have them. Buy good ones. Don't get the cheap ones at the dollar store or anything like that. Buy good ones. The cheap ones you'll find out as, if you're doing putty or you're trying to take the water out from underneath a decal or something, you'll notice that the cotton on the cheap ones will start breaking down and it'll start leaving fibers all over your model, and you don't want that. Some decal solvents. So here we got the Microsol and the Microset, and this is something I I really think you should buy right away. This is something you should actually spend money on when you go out and get stuff. Um, Micro set, you put this down on the model, put your decal on top, it softens it up. You can move it around a little bit, and this helps with the decal adhesion. And then micro saw, um, after you get your decal down, you put this on, and what'll happen is it'll wrinkle up and go all kind of funny, and you'll go, oh God, what did I do to my model? But as it dries, it'll flatten out again, and then if there's a panel line or some rivets or something behind it, it'll conform around those contours to make the decal look like it's painted on. So I definitely buy these. I think they're $4 a piece or something like that for these. There's other brands too. I know Mr. Hobby makes some. Speaking of Mr. Hobby, and I should have mentioned this earlier with the putties and stuff. But this is Mr. Surfacer. This is 500. I got Mr. Surfacer 1000, and it's same as with the sanding sticks. The higher the number on it, the finer the. But you can use these for primers. You can also use these for fillers for really, like say you sand something and you got some scratch marks and you don't want to sand anymore. You can throw some of this on there and then go real lightly with some like 1000 sandpaper, and this will leave a super smooth finish on your model. So you can throw some paint on it. There's other things that are not required, and we'll talk more about them, as we go along, like weathering products and things like that. And we'll get more into detail when we come to those. The other important thing is your work area. You can see like my work area, it's pretty big. I got this hobby mat here. This hobby mat runs about, I don't know, I think this one ran $50. It's pretty big. I don't even know what size it is, but this fits on my desk, and then I have room on either side of it. It's to protect the table, and it's also it's self-healing. So if you cut it, it'll after a while you can see. Well, I'm sure you can't see that, but that little cut will go away and even out again. If you don't want to spend the kind of money, and they come in different sizes, anywhere from $9 all the way up to whatever you want to spend. But if you don't want to spend that money, get yourself a nice, big, thick piece of cardboard, because you don't want to, if you're working at your kitchen table, you don't want to be gouging X-Acto blades into the top of your nice kitchen table. The last thing I want to talk, well, maybe not the last thing. Well, yeah, the last thing. Last thing I want to talk about is what kind of model you should get, for your first one. So if you see on here, let's zoom in a little bit. So we have this numbering system here. This is a Revol P38J that we're going to build. But you see this numbering system, and these are the skill levels. And I know this is an old model. I know that the skill levels for Revol now, they go from 1 to 5. So this is a 2. 1 being the easiest, no paint, no glue required, basically snap together kit. Sometimes they're pre-painted, sometimes they're not. Number 2, this is what this kit is. Requires glue, requires paint. And then, not as many parts as a 3 or 4 or 5. Not a lot of detail on them either, unfortunately. I haven't bought a Revol kit in a long time, so I'm not sure, like say a new kit that's level 2, I'm not sure what kind of detail or anything is on it. It might be, they still might be soft like this one. And we'll look at it, but you want to stay around the number 2. You don't want to get in 3, 4, or 5. You don't want to go out and buy yourself a $150 Tamiya P-51 Mustang or anything like that, because those models have tons and tons of parts, or even Gundams. Gundams have tons and tons of parts. So stick with something simple. Usually an airplane, a car, something like that. Stay at the number 2 for now until you get used to modeling and your skills get better, and then as you get more confidence and your skills improve, and then you can start getting into those more complicated models. So saying all that, I hope this video isn't too long, and I hope it was informative. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And once again, welcome to my brand new YouTube channel. Please click the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications when I put out a new video. And until then, happy modeling, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.